The first thing Jack Hayes felt was pain. Not sharp, not screaming, just a dull, heavy weight pressing down on his chest. He tried to breathe. The air was too clean, too cold. He opened his eyes. A glowing white ceiling stared back. The lights above him were soft and strange, like moonlight inside glass. He blinked, confused, then slowly turned his head. This wasn't Earth, and it definitely wasn't a human ship. Jack sat up, wincing as pain shot through his ribs. The bed beneath him was smooth and metal. Machines buzzed quietly nearby. Soft blue holograms floated in the air, shifting and blinking. He remembered the battle. Plasma fire, screaming. The blast hitting him full force as he shoved Private Kellen out of the way. Then, darkness. Now, he was here, alive. Somehow then he saw her. Across the room stood a tall figure, thin, graceful, and motionless. Her skin shimmered like polished silver. Her long fingers held a tablet that glowed with strange symbols. But it was her eyes that froze him in place, cold, piercing, ice blue, and full of judgment. She was staring right at him. No expression, no kindness. Just a glare. Jack blinked again, tried to speak, but his throat was dry. Instead, he gave a small cough and leaned back on the bed. The alien nurse didn't move. Not a word, not a sound. Just those eyes, locked on his, like she was trying to decide whether he was worth saving or worth letting die. Well, Jack muttered, voice rough, don't all rush in to welcome the hero. She didn't reply. That glare deepened, and for a second, Jack felt like a mouse under a hawk's shadow. But he was human, and if there was one thing humans were good at, it was breaking tension with something stupid. He tilted his head, smirked, and blew her a kiss. Just a soft one, playful, full of sarcasm. His usual move when things got weird. She flinched. Her eyes widened slightly. The surgical tablet in her hands trembled. Her silver skin shimmered, a shade brighter for half a second. Then, a beep echoed through the room. One of the wall panels turned red. A light above the door began to spin. A small mechanical arm dropped from the ceiling, scanning the space between them. Jack raised his eyebrows. Okay, not the reaction I expected. The nurse turned on her heel and walked quickly to a console, tapping something with sharp, precise fingers. She spoke in a low, smooth voice, in a language Jack couldn't understand. Whatever she said, it didn't sound happy. Jack tried to stand, but his legs were still weak. He grunted and fell back against the bed. Name's Jack Hayes, he said, not really expecting a reply. Captain, Human Defense Forces. You got a name, Ice Queen? No response, but she paused. Just a fraction of a second. Her head tilted, slightly. Then, just as quickly, she turned and left through a sliding door. Jack sighed and laid back. What the hell did I just walk into? Meanwhile, single quotes Ari stood outside the infirmary chamber, her hands tight at her sides. She had never seen a human up close before, only in reports, in battle feeds. Loud, violent creatures, full of energy and fire. But this one, this Jack, was different. He smiled at her. He blew her a kiss. The gesture was strange, primitive, borderline, offensive, but something about it made her heart rate spike. Her fingers trembled. Her face felt warm. That had never happened before. Niari did not feel, at least, not like this. She activated her communicator. Commander Vieira, she said calmly. The human has regained consciousness. His condition is stable. Any incidents? The voice asked. Sari hesitated. She looked through the glass at Jack, who was now humming softly and tapping on the edge of the bed. She could report his behavior. She should. Protocol demanded full disclosure. But instead, she said, no. He is cooperative. The voice paused. Continue monitoring. You are assigned to him until further notice. Yes, Commander. She ended the call and turned back toward the infirmary door behind it. The human waited, smiling, dangerous, and somehow, fascinating. Sari didn't understand it yet, but something inside her had shifted, and for the first time in her life, she didn't hate it. Sari sat alone in the decontamination chamber. Bright white light washed over her silver skin. She kept her eyes closed. Her breathing was calm. Her mind, WASN. Single quotes too. She had reported the human as cooperative, but that was a lie. She hadn't mentioned the kiss. She hadn't mentioned the heat that rose in her chest when he smiled, and she hadn't told them that her hands were still shaking. The Nyari did not allow emotional interference in medical procedures. Emotions were distractions, dangerous, a weakness that once almost destroyed their people. Sari had trained her whole life to suppress them, but something about that human, was breaking the rules. She opened her eyes. No, this was just a biological reaction, a temporary chemical imbalance caused by exposure to human pheromones. Nothing more. She repeated that sentence in her mind again and again. Inside the infirmary, Jack Hayes was testing how far he could move without triggering another alarm. His ribs still ached. His legs felt like rubber, but at least he could sit up. He poked one of the glowing panels near the bed. It buzzed and flashed something in alien script, probably a warning. He grinned. Guess that means don't touch. He leaned back, eyes drifting to the door. He hoped the silver nurse would come back soon. Not just because she was his only link to answers, but because she was interesting. Not just beautiful, though she was. It was something else. The way she glared at him, like she had control over every breath in the room. The way she walked, precise, like a machine trying to pretend it wasn't alive. And the way she flinched, when he blew that kiss. That reaction wasn't part of some cold alien species. That was human. The door opened. Sari entered with silent steps. A tray of glowing tools in her hands. Her expression was neutral again, but her eyes flickered when she saw him sitting upright. You're not supposed to be moving, she said calmly. Jack smiled. Sorry. You were gone too long. I got bored. She ignored his comment and walked over to scan his vitals. A small disc hovered over his chest, buzzing quietly. Your heart rate is elevated, she said. Possible side effect of Nyari exposure. Or stupidity. Probably both, Jack replied. Mostly the second. Sari's lips twitched. A micro-dash expression, almost a smile. But not quite. You find something funny? Jack asked, leaning toward her. She didn't answer. Instead, she injected something into his arm. Jack winced. Ow. That's how you flirt. By stabbing a guy. This is a neural suppressant, she said coldly. It should calm your emotional spikes. Jack raised an eyebrow. So you're drugging me, because I smiled at you. You disrupted the security systems. I blew you a kiss. You initiated a mating signal, she replied, looking him directly in the eyes. That made Jack freeze. A what now? Sari turned to the console, her fingers dancing across the controls. In Nyari culture, gestures like that are recognized as signals of intimate intent. It is considered highly improper. Jack blinked. So you're telling me? I kissed the alien nurse in your language. Sari didn't look at him. Correct. He laughed softly. Well, I guess I'm fluent now. She finally turned. Her gaze locked on his. You're not funny, Captain Hayes. Jack nodded, still smiling. You keep telling yourself that, Nurse Ice. She turned away again. But he didn't miss the way her breath caught. Just for a second. Later that night, Sari stood before her commanding officer. Hi, Medic Vieira. You are assigned to this human indefinitely, Vieira said, without emotion. His recovery is unstable. The sabotage has complicated his readings. Yes, Commander. Sari replied. Have you experienced emotional disruption? Sorry paused. She remembered Jack's voice, the way he joked, the way her body reacted, the pulse she couldn't control. No, she lied. I am functioning within standard parameters. Vieira watched her for a long moment. Remember who we are. Emotions are a weakness. Sorry bowed her head. Understood. But deep inside, she wasn't sure she believed that anymore. Back in the infirmary, Jack stared at the ceiling. Something wasn't right. He had seen a glimpse of a diagnostic screen earlier. One of the readings was flashing red. His nanobots were malfunctioning. That shouldn't be possible unless someone tampered with them. Someone wanted him to die, and it wasn't her. He didn't know how he knew that, but he did. There was something in the way Sari had touched his arm, the way she paused when he smiled, the way she almost smiled back. She was cold, but she was trying not to be, and Jack Hayes wasn't going to let her forget that she had felt something, even if she didn't understand it yet. Jack Hayes didn't know how long he had been asleep. He only knew that when he opened his eyes again, something was different. His body felt ... strange, not weak, but not stable either. His heartbeat was faster, his skin was warmer, and there was a low buzz in his ears, like static under his skull. The lights in the infirmary were dimmed. Everything looked softer, blurred at the edges. He tried to sit up, but the motion hit him like a wave. He groaned. Within seconds, she was there. Sari moved silently to his side, scanning him with a device shaped like a curved blade. Her expression was tight, focused, but her eyes ... her eyes weren't cold anymore. They looked worried. Stay still, she said quietly. Your system is in stress mode. The nanobots are not repairing correctly. Jack blinked. Did someone mess with them? Sari didn't answer right away. Instead, she placed her hand gently on his shoulder, guiding him back down. Her touch was careful, gentle, like she didn't trust herself to hold him too long. I am still analyzing the source, she said, but something is interfering with the recovery process. Jack took a breath. Then, I was right. Someone wants me dead. Sari didn't look at him, but she didn't deny it either. Over the next hour, Sari ran deeper scans. Jack watched. Her she was graceful, precise, always in control. But tonight, her hands moved faster. Her breathing was shallow. Her jaw was clenched. She was afraid, and not for herself, for him. Can I ask you something? Jack said softly. Sari paused. Yes. What do you believe in? She blinked, not expecting the question. I believe in order, logic, service. Jack nodded. And now, she hesitated. I don't know. He smiled faintly. That's a good place to start. The results came in. Sari stared at the screen, her silver skin pale under the blue light. What is it? Jack asked. She looked at him. Your body is bonding to Nayari energy frequencies. The nanobots are adapting, but not like they should. They are evolving. Jack frowned. Is that bad? It is unknown. But your heart, it's stabilizing. Only when I'm near. Jack stared at her. Are you saying? I need you to stay alive. Sari swallowed hard. Yes, you do. He laughed softly. Well, that's one way to get a girl to stay. She didn't laugh, but she didn't walk away either. Instead, she sat beside him, her posture still stiff, but closer now, more human. As the room fell quiet, Jack closed his eyes. Memories came in flashes. His sister's smile, her last message before deployment. Live. Fully Jack. Don't just survive. Love something, even if it hurts. He opened his eyes again. I had a sister, he said. She died 3 months ago. Ship explosion. I couldn't save her. Sari looked at him, silent. She used to say, emotions make us strong. That pain reminds us we're alive. Sari spoke quietly. Nayari pain is a virus. Emotion is a disease. Jack turned his head to her. Then why do you keep saving me? She didn't answer, because she didn't know. Or maybe, she already did. Later that night, she remained beside him. She told herself it was for medical reasons. His vitals were unstable. Her presence helped. But when he drifted into sleep, her fingers moved to his wrist, just to check his pulse. Only once, she let her fingers stay there, warm, steady, alive. She had been trained to feel nothing, but this human ... He made her heart beat, and that wasn't supposed to happen. Not to a Niari, not to her. The alarms were silent at first. Only the lights changed. Soft blue turned to flashing amber, then red. Sorry. Eyes snapped open. Jack was convulsing on the medical bed, his body arched. His heart rate on the monitor spiked wildly, then flatlined. For a single breathless second. No, she whispered, running to him. She pressed her hands to the scanner above his chest. The display was glitching. The nanobots were failing completely now. Signals were distorted. Commands were being rejected. She tried the override. Nothing worked. His lips were turning pale. Stay with me, she said, voice shaking. You will not die. Not now. His eyes flickered open for a second. Hey, ... Ice Queen, ... double quotes, he whispered weakly. You, ... forget to stab me tonight. Then his eyes rolled back. Flatline. The high-pitched tone filled the room. Sorry stood frozen. All her training screamed to follow protocol. Step back, notify command. Let the machine handle the rest. But something inside her snapped. She tore the scanner cables out of the bed, threw the diagnostic board to the floor. She dropped to her knees beside him and placed both hands on his chest. No, she said again, I am not losing him. She forced her energy through the contact pads. Her species had the ability to transfer bioenergy in emergencies. But it was rare, dangerous, forbidden outside of bonded pairs. But she didn't care. She closed her eyes and focused, and for the first time in her life, she felt fear. Not for herself, for him, she whispered in Nairai. Ancient words, healing words. Her people had not spoken them in centuries. She had never believed in them until now. The monitor beeped, once. Then again, his chest rose, then slowly fell. Jack gasped. His eyes shot open. He coughed hard, then looked at her. You, ... didn't let me die, he whispered. No, she said softly. Then she looked down. A tear was sliding down her cheek, just one. She touched her face. In disbelief, Tanaya, I did not cry. It wasn't possible, but there it was, a clear drop, warm against her cold skin. She stared at it like it was something holy, like it wasn't supposed to exist. I don't understand, she whispered. Jack reached out. His fingers found hers, weak, but warm. You're not broken, he said. You're beautiful. She looked at him. Their hands stayed locked, together not as nurse and patient, not as alien and human, but as something else, something fragile, something real. Hours passed. Sorry sat by his bed, silent. She had contacted no one, reported nothing. Some part of her knew she had just violated half a dozen Nayari laws, but she couldn't move. She couldn't leave him. Not now. Not after that tear. Not after what it meant. Her fingers traced the edge of the pulse scanner on his wrist. His heartbeat was steady again, because of her and her heart. It still beat faster when she looked at him, in the shadows of the orbital station. Another figure watched a hidden monitor. Sorry, yes, actions had not gone unnoticed. A voice spoke through the dark. She's been compromised. Another voice replied. Begin the purge. The first explosion shook the walls. Jack jolted awake, instinct kicking in. The lights flickered. Sirens screamed down the hallway. Smoke rolled under the infirmary doors. Sari was already at his side, helping him sit up. What's happening? Jack asked, still breathless. They're coming, Sari said. For both of us. Jack looked into her eyes. There was no more coldness there, just fear. And something stronger, something worth running for. Outside the medical bay, armored, Nyari soldiers moved in formation. Their weapons hummed with blue light. Their faces were covered by emotionless visors. The lead officer spoke into the comms target. Sari, of Unit 12. Secondary target, human male. Orders are to detain or terminate. Inside, Jack was struggling into a thin medical suit. I'm barely healed, he muttered. Sari handed him a small energy pack. This will stabilize your system for now, but it won't last. You planned this. I prepared. After the last scan, I knew they would come. Jack gave her a crooked smile. You're not as cold as you act. She didn't smile, but her voice softened. I don't want to lose you. Jack touched her arm. Then let's run. They burst through a side door as the main infirmary was breached. Smoke and blaster fire filled the corridors. Jack stumbled once, and Sari caught him. Her strength surprised him. She was faster than he expected, stronger, and she never let go of his hand. They moved through the lower tunnels of the orbital station. Old maintenance shafts, unmapped corridors. Shadows wrapped around them like cloaks. Jack breathed hard, each step pulling at the wound in his side. Where are we going? He asked. There's a diplomatic shuttle on Deck 19. If we reach it, we can broadcast to Earth, expose the sabotage. Jack nodded. And then what? Sari paused. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Then we survive. Together. They reached a sealed pressure door. Sari pressed her hand to the panel, but it blinked red. Locked, she said. Security override. Jack stepped forward. Let me. He pulled out a slim tool from his belt. Old Earth tech. Nothing fancy. He pried the panel open and crossed a few wires. Sparks flew. The door hissed and slid open. Sometimes, he said, chaos beats control. Sari stared at him. That's why they fear you. They should, he said with a grin. Especially when I'm in love. Sari's eyes widened. What? He stepped closer. I didn't say it before because I thought I was dying, but I meant it. I'm in love with you. Sari. She looked away, like the words were too much. I don't know what this feeling is, she whispered, but it hurts. When I think of losing you. Jack touched her cheek. Then don't lose me. Run with me. She nodded once, then they ran again. On Deck 19, the shuttle bay was in lockdown. Armed guards waited. They raised their weapons when they saw Jack and Sari appear. Step back, one of them warned. Surrender now. Sari stood in front of Jack. No, she said calmly. Let us pass. The guards hesitated. She's one of us, one whispered. But she's broken protocol. Another replied. Sari raised her hand slowly. A soft glow spread from her palm. This is my choice, she said. Not protocol, not duty, mine. For a moment, no one moved. Then a young Nyari guard lowered her weapon. He saved my sister, she said quietly. Let them go. The others backed away. The shuttle door opened. Inside, Jack slumped into the co-pilot seat, breathing hard. Sari powered up the ship, hands moving quickly. This thing fly? Jack asked. Only if you don't touch anything, she said. He laughed weakly. Yes, ma'am. The shuttle launched, breaking from the orbital station, with a jolt behind them. Sirens continued to scream, but ahead, there was only open space, and Earth. Jack looked over at her. You really chose me. Sari looked straight ahead. I didn't. Just choose you. She reached over, took his hand. I feel you. Jack closed his eyes. For the first time in weeks, he felt safe. Not because they escaped, but because she was still holding on. The stars drifted silently outside the shuttle window. Jack sat with his head resting against the cold glass, watching them blur past. His body ached. The wound in his chest still throbbed. The nanobots were barely holding him together, but none of that mattered. Sari sat beside him, eyes forward, hands steady on the controls. Her fingers glowed faintly as she guided the shuttle through the void. Silence filled the cockpit, but it wasn't empty. It was full of things unsaid, full of weight, of meaning, of emotion. "We're being tracked," Sari said quietly. Jack sat up. "By who? Niari? High Command. Their long-range cruiser is behind us. They'll intercept in less than 10 minutes. Jack rubbed his face. "Perfect. What now?" Sari turned to him. Her eyes held that same quiet fire, the one that had kept him alive. "We make them listen." "To what?" he asked. She touched her chest, then his. "To this." Within minutes, the ship's main comms were connected. Jack sat upright, steadying himself with one hand. Sari stood beside him. The transmission was live. Both Earth Command and the Niari Council were listening. To entire civilizations, waiting, watching, and judging. "This is Captain Jack Hayes of the Human Defense Forces," he said, his voice strong despite the pain. "I was wounded in battle, taken to a Niari medical bay, and nearly killed by someone trying to silence the truth." He paused. "But the truth is not what they fear most." He looked at Sari. "They feared this. What you're seeing now." Sari stepped forward. "My name is Sari of Unit 12. I have served the Niari with loyalty all my life. I believed emotions were a sickness, that humans were dangerous because they feel too much." She looked down. "I was wrong." She met the camera again, voice clear. "I healed Jack Hayes, but he healed something inside me too. Something I didn't know was broken." The room was still. No one spoke. Jack leaned in. "You think love is weakness. You think feeling makes us reckless, but it's what makes us human, and it's what can make you stronger too." He took Sari's hand in front of the world. "You want peace? Then start with truth." He squeezed her fingers. "Start with us." Silence followed. No one responded. No voices came through. Just static. Jack sighed. "Well, that could have gone worse." Then, the screen blinked. An old Niari appeared. His skin was worn, eyes soft with age. "I remember a time," the elder said, "when we used to sing." Sari blinked. "What?" The elder nodded slowly. "Our ancestors sang to their children, to their mates, until fear taught us silence, until war taught us to forget." He looked at her. "Your tear, Sari, reminded me of that song." He turned to the council behind him. "I say we listen." The cruiser behind them slowed, weapons powered down. Earth Command responded next. A human general's voice crackled through. "If they're willing to talk, so are we." Jack exhaled. His chest ached, but this time, it was relief. He leaned back and laughed softly. Sari stared at him, confused. "What is funny?" He looked at her with a smile. "We just made history, because I blew a kiss at the wrong nurse." Sari blinked, then, slowly, finally, she smiled. Not a twitch, not a flicker, a real smile, soft, beautiful, warm. Later that night, as the shuttle docked with a neutral space station, Jack watched her standing by the exit. She wore no armor, no coldness, just calm. She turned to him as the doors began to open. "Will they accept us?" she asked. Jack stepped beside her. "I don't know, but I do know one thing." "What?" "We don't need to be accepted, to be real." He reached for her hand. She didn't hesitate, and this time, she held it tightly. The space station, orbiting between Earth and Niari territory, was called Unity Point. It had no weapons, no military guards, just open halls, soft lights, and quiet rooms where two species could finally look each other in the eye. Jack Hayes stood at the large viewing window. Below, Earth turned slowly in the dark. Beside it, Nayari's ships hovered in silent formation. For the first time in history, they were not here to fight. They were here to learn and to listen. Sari entered quietly behind him. Jack didn't turn. He knew it was her. "I never thought I'd see Earth again," he said. "I never thought I'd want to," she replied. He turned to her now. She was different. Still Nayari, still graceful, still strong, but her face was soft. Her eyes no longer cold. Her shoulders no longer heavy with the weight of rules. "You've changed," he said. Sari stepped closer. "You changed me." She reached into her pocket and held something out. Jack took it. A folded strip of Nayari cloth, embroidered with silver thread. "It's a bond mark," she explained. "A symbol of choice. It's not worn by order, only by will." Jack's fingers closed around it. "And you're giving it to me?" She nodded. "I choose you." Later, they stood before a gathering of both human and Nayari officials. The room was tense, curious, watching. Sari stepped forward. "I offer my service to both worlds," she said. "Not as a soldier, not as a nurse, but as a bridge." Jack stepped beside her. "I offer my life, not just to humanity, but to what we can become together." He glanced at Sari. "And yes, this is personal. I fell in love with someone I was trained to fear, and she chose me." A ripple moved through the crowd. Some were confused, some were angry, but many, many were inspired. In the following days, everything began to shift. A joint research program was launched, emotional study between species. Intercultural teams were created. Barriers started to fall, not overnight, but enough to matter, enough to prove it was possible. Jack found himself working in a new role, a peace liaison, but some days, he spent more time fixing Nayari translation bugs than settling actual negotiations. He didn't mind, as long as she was beside him. One afternoon, he found Sari kneeling beside a young human child. The boy had scraped his knee, running through the station gardens. Sari carefully cleaned the wound, then handed him a small glowing Nayari healing patch. "Will it hurt?" the boy asked. She smiled gently. "Only for a moment." Jack stood watching from a distance. Something about the way she knelt, the way she smiled, it hit him all at once. This wasn't about war anymore, or peace talks, or political speeches. It was about her and him, and the quiet choice they had made. That night, they stood together on the observation deck. The stars glowed softly. Earth and Nayari ships drifted together in the dark. No longer strangers, no longer enemies. Jack turned to her. "You remember the first thing you ever said to me?" Sari thought for a moment, then nodded. "You're not supposed to be moving." Jack chuckled. "And now I can't imagine you still." He smiled, then reached into his coat. He pulled out the silver-embroidered cloth she gave him. It was wrapped around his wrist. He held it up. "I wear it every day." Sari stepped closer. "I chose you then." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I still do." Jack leaned in and kissed her, softly, gently. No alarms went off this time. No weapons locked on them. Just silence and peace. In the end, he didn't just survive the war. He found something worth living for. She glared at him, and he blew her a kiss. Now, she chose him.